Hey, hello everyone and welcome to Extreme Graphics Tech. My name is Angelo and today I'm bringing back the retro graphical analysis that I did for the Batman Arkham series and the Resident Evil games. And this time I'm going to tackle another trilogy. It's the Tomb Raider trilogy from 2013. Which I believe is quite an astonishing game even today. But before we start with that, I would like to ask everybody to please subscribe to the channel because I'm so close to 1000 and it will really make me happy to hit that number. It's like a milestone for this small channel, so I will appreciate each one of you clicking on that subscribe button, even if it's just to help me. It's free and it will help me a lot. So having said that, I have to talk about the Tomb Raider 2013 because I believe this game, even after 11 years, is quite a nice accomplishment. And it happens that Crystal Dynamics brought us a trilogy of video games that, yeah, they have some issues with the story. I was never like there, like this was a reboot, and okay, we had a very inexperienced Lara, but this trend continued over the other two games, and that I think it hindered a little bit. But besides the story, I think they are very solid in terms of gameplay, being the second the best one in my opinion. But well, everything started here, and I have to say that one of the things I loved about Crystal Dynamics is that when they made this game, even though this is a game made in the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 era, they didn't skimp on the PC version, something that was very common at the time. And what I mean by that is that many times you saw many good games or high technical games on the consoles, but then the PC version was very poor, badly optimized, or not, like they didn't go beyond, like the graphics are very similar or just higher resolution. But in this case, no, you actually have much higher options than the console counterpart. So the PC looks very good compared to the console, especially if you had the hardware at the time. Of course, today you're going to be able to move this game with any old, like 8-year-old PC, no problems, and more than 60 FPS, and you're going to have the best experience that the game can offer in terms of graphics. So having said that, so the game is to start with like a cinematic, a video, very poor quality by the way, something very common at the time. It has been improving, but it's still not perfect on PC. I'm not quite sure why it's so difficult to just put very good quality videos, because the moment a video starts and you see, macro blocking compression issues, I don't know, it gives you a bad taste, or I don't know, it's not that great to have that first impression. But anyway, so the game starts and then it throws you, it jumps to an intro part of the game with the engine, and that's where things start to show very well. So the games start there, and then you are very soon in control of Lara. And you are going to be in this area that it works as a tutorial for the new controls and all the things that you can do now. But it also serves you to put into context of what the game is going to be in terms of size, because you start in this very small place, right? And you have to solve some puzzles just to know how to use the controls and the platforming and all of that, and that's very fine and all, and you're just playing, and then this like big chases start and you start having all these big cinematic moments, and it really pumps you up, and then a moment of calm appears and you have this beautiful view, with beautiful graphics from the time, and then you little after that you finally get to the point control, which is like a fire, where you're going to be able to travel and spend points to improve certain characteristics of Lara and so on. So that's very good. But as you know, this is not a gameplay analysis. This is a retro technical analysis. So now let's go to that point. I just wanted to give you an idea, and that's because in this intro, this blockbuster action scene, you already can see where that the team is pointing for grandeur. I say they want a big spectacle of a game, and for that they needed a very nice engine, and so that's why they give you these views, and just to show that this is not a small game, that this is going to be a nice epic adventure. And wow, honestly it is a very nice big graphical adventure, right? So the game, it starts with, we can say that the game has amazing models, the textures are really good, the lighting is good considering when this was done, there is even different times of day in different parts, so you can see how the lights affect everything. There is a lot of geometry. However, there are some things that we can, looking back, say that is lacking on the game. For example, I believe, I can't confirm this but I believe the textures on the game are not PBR. They are not physical based rendering materials, which means that, Lara has this weird plasticky look because the skin doesn't have subsurface scattering, and it's like over bright when she's close to a light and so on, which was very typical of the time in games like Gears of War or even Uncharted. You have this like over bright skin tone when things are like they're trying to simulate some kind of HDR, but it makes the character looks more like a plastic thing that a real skin, and that was an issue at the time, but it was very common because, well, many of the techniques used later were still not invented, or the machines that we're talking were not capable of running them. Another problem that I've seen is that even though there are many lights and some of them cast lights, not all of them cast shadows. So maybe you have the torch and most of the objects that you are illuminating will not cast any kind of shadows. Also, together with this, even though the game has SSAAO, it's not very effective. So many things look like they're floating around, so it's not quite great in that area. But of course, I'm saying this looking to the past, right? Because it's easier, and this is the point of this retro analysis, just to see how they have aged and how they hold up now. But having said all these little issues and the fact that some of the backgrounds and trees are all like 2D objects, and some backgrounds in the distance is just a plain texture, and when it doesn't look that gray. When you see at the whole game as a thing, especially considering it's a PlayStation 3 game, you can see that the game really holds up very well even today. It looks really cool. The torch can interact and illuminate some of the objects, even if it doesn't cast shadow on most of the objects. But the lights interacts even with the water, which is very basic. I will say it's mostly a texture with some shader on top of it, nothing complex, but it still is a nice touch. And in general, as I said, the PC version looks quite good, and I really love the way it looks. The PC version, as I said, is very good because they went they went way beyond just not porting the game, but adding more quality to the game than you would normally get just from the consoles. Not just texture, not just resolution, as it happens many times. That's all you get, like more resolution, and that's it. In this case, you are going to get better shadows, better textures, and better lighting, and all of that together creates a game that, from my point of view, even today is quite attractive. Or I will say, is still a game that I will play no problems. And would say that I think it even looks better than the first Uncharted game, and of course they are from different years, but I still think that this has aged better than the first Uncharted, at least. So now it will be interesting when we check the second and third game, because those were created on the Xbox One era and PlayStation 4 era, and then we have more modern techniques, more modern GPU, and Crystal Dynamics exploited more the capacities of the PC. This game needed quite a beefy GPU at the time. I remember that it was quite a heavy game, this one, and it was hard to keep 60 FPS with everything on, so I had to lower some settings to be able to play at the computer at the time. So having said that, I think that Tomb Raider 2013 is quite a nice game in terms of visuals. It holds up very well even today, and you can play on almost anything. This game will run perfectly fine, for example, on a Steam Deck, no issues whatsoever in terms of performance. It really runs very well because of the age, but the thing is that it will still look very good, and as I said, it's quite a blockbuster entertainment spectacle. So that's where they were looking for, and they achieved that. They rebooted the game, even though I'm not quite convinced about the story. In terms of gameplay, I think it's quite fun, and they got exactly right what they wanted and the spirit of what is the platforming in the Tomb Raider games. So from here, I hope you like this little throwback, little view at one of the games that, or the game that started the reboot. We're expecting a new game, I believe. So they changed engine, which to me is a shame, because now everything seems to go through Unreal Engine 5, which is I don't know, I'm not quite convinced that that is a good engine. I have not seen anything really great coming out, and I think some other engines have done better job, but that's another discussion. I hope you like this video, and as always, see you on the next one.